Hello and welcome back, everyone, to the third and final day here at WCS Spring 2019. We are just about ready to get started with our first semifinal match, and it is going to be a great one. We have a four-time WCS champion attempting to bring back his 2017 glory, while facing him is a WCS Global semifinalist trying to make his first grand finals of his career. Please welcome on stage, it is Neeb and SpeCial!
We start things here for WCS Spring Round of 4, of course. Welcome, ladies and gentlemen. Neeb and SpeCial are going to go up against one another in a PvT to find out who moves on into the grand final. Neeb has already got plenty of WCS championships under his belt. SpeCial yet to be able to move beyond the barrier of the round of 4. Now is his opportunity to try and do so here at WCS Spring. Welcome, I'm here with Rotterdam and Todd. Rotterdam, starting with you with everything on the line here for SpeCial especially. I would love to see him break that curse. However, going up against Neeb is no small feat.
But here we go again, SpeCial in the semi-finals. Can he finally make it to a finals? He's been looking so good in so many of these WCS events. This tournament he's been looking good. He's 10-3 so far in maps. Definitely wasn't in any real trouble. Maybe against Showtime a tiny bit in game 3, but he was able to close that out. The final one was convincing, but I'm still kind of leaning towards the man who dominated the WCS circuit in 2017.
SpeCial's looking confident. He's looking smooth out there, juggling with his hot pack.
That's right.
On his way to the stage.
Imagine if he had 3 of them just coming down the ramp all the way. I'm like, whoa.
Then he would have looked even loser. Like he wasn't even thinking about his match at all.
That's right.
But no, he's looked pretty confident, and like I said before, I really feel like this is the moment for him to really start and show that he's a championship caliber player going up against somebody like Neeb. Like you said, 6 times top 4. That's crazy. He's never made a finals. It's time to change that, guys.
Of course, you can vote at home as to who you think is going to be victorious here as well. Will it be Neeb or will it be SpeCial? I wouldn't begrudge you at all if there was a little bit of a favour towards Neeb in terms of what a lot of people think about his current form, as well as what people think about his past achievements. Let's take a look at the maps as well here, and tell me what you think so far, Roddy.
Well, I am happy to see that Neeb actually banned New Repugnancy. I think Showtime was actually the one who picked it in an earlier stage in his tournament against Clem, and I was like, that's actually kind of surprising. Or he picked maybe Cyber Forest, but I think New Repugnancy is a difficult map. It's one of those maps where there are so many strong Terran pushes, and if there is one map where tanks are good in almost every phase in the game against Protoss, I feel like it is New Repugnancy. So I think it makes a lot of sense that Neeb decides to ban that one. What do you think about the ban of SpeCial, Todd?
It's great.
Ah, okay, now it is there actually. Damn it.
Like, damn.
Did you see that SpeCial gave one last look to Neeb, by the way? He looked to his right, thinking, you're going down.
Yeah? Well,
it's on.
anything else?
Well, I think Year Zero is a ban that makes a lot of sense to me. It is the largest map in the map pool, and yes, SpeCial has been busting out a little bit of that mech play, but I think Neeb is really good against that. I think Neeb is on point with his transitions when it comes to sky toss as well, because mech can be very strong against those ground compositions, but it's often the carriers and the Tempest that cause the biggest problems, and a lot of disruptors way down the line. So I think it makes a lot of sense that SpeCial decided to get rid of Year Zero, because any of those tank pushes that I mentioned that are scary on New Repugnancy or a Cyber Forest, they don't even exist on Year Zero. Amon has never seen them. Best seat in the house and has still never seen those builds.
Never witnesses them. You know, for all the destructive power he has caused in the campaign, he doesn't really do much on Year Zero, does he? He's just there eating his popcorn, doing whatever he wants to do.
But I hope for SpeCial he's got a different build orders perhaps lined up here, because Neeb will certainly have paid attention to that series up against Showtime. And it's going to take no less than whatever he's got that's best out there for him to be able to find success, especially if he was to do some of the builds that he did with, you know, tank pushes and all that. Like Showtime is solid, but Neeb has looked incredible as well so far this tournament defensively.
Oh, a big chunk of the viewers at the moment voting in favor of SpeCial. Everyone thinks it's his time. The big question is, Will it be his time? Do you have faith here, or what do you think, Roddy?
Like I said, I'm leaning more towards Neeb. I want to be honest, and I really do feel as good as SpeCial looked in those games. I felt it was Showtime losing it a little bit more in game 3 and 4 than it was SpeCial winning it. And I honestly believe that as Neeb finds himself in those scenarios, Neeb is going to win those games. I'll guarantee you that. I think he's, in general, Neeb, his work account is something you can pay attention to. He is so good in building probes all the time. He won't have a 3-4 worker advantage. It's going to be like 13-14.
Well, let's find out. It's time to head into our first round of 4 match here for WCS Spring as Neeb goes up against SpeCial. Let's head over to the commentary team for all the action.
G'day, StarCraft fans. Welcome back to WCS Spring. We got ourselves our first semi about to go down. It took 3 days, Pig, but we're finally commentating together.
It's, you know, they like to keep us apart, save us for when the matches get super intense. And this matchup here, dude, I am so excited. We've seen this matchup, this clash, so many times over and over and over again a couple of years ago. And I just feel like that man on the right-hand side, there's so many hopes behind him right now. Hell, we saw it in the poll. So many of the fans right now are feeling it for Juanito. But, you know, history is hard to argue with, and Neeb is definitely the one with the advantage historically between these two.
And Neeb kind of had a bit of a quiet 2018, obviously versus 2017. It's kind of hard to top that year for Neeb.
Yeah.
But 2019, he started off extremely strong in Challenger, in Winter. He was looking incredible. And can he actually keep this momentum going and become, once again, a WCS champion? It's great to see him so deep in this tournament, but also SpeCial on the other side of the fence. Can he get his first ever grand final appearance in WCS and even potentially a championship here in Kiev? Let's get into game number 1, ladies and gentlemen. In the top left, this, the Mexican Terran in the red, is SpeCial.
And of course, his opponent down here in the bottom right-hand side of the map in the blue, representing the American champion. He is Neeb.
3-time 2017 champion in WCS, a Kesper champion as well. He won tournament in China, like a few tens of thousands of dollars that seemed to sort of disappear into the folds of history somehow. It was a really big tournament that he won. This kid is a champion multiple times. Juanito still, after all these years, he's been playing since Brood War. He is such an old school player. Still no grand finals yet for Juanito.
Yeah, he's been very close. One of the most consistent players, and we often do call him the best Terran player outside of Korea. He definitely has been getting stronger and stronger. A recent performance, of course, taking out SOS in GSL, allowing him to progress to the round of 16 there.
Neeb and SOS, extremely different players. Neeb a little bit more macro-focused, can throw out cheekiness from time to time, whereas SOS is so unpredictable and so hard to manage. And that might be even more impressive that you can deal with the Protoss. You know, Terran's not a very reactive race. It's a little bit hard to change up your plan when you're a Terran with your build orders, because you're kind of locked into what you've chosen to do in the early stages of the game. So pretty sick that he did well against SOS and GSL, moving on, of course, to the next stages. And all eyes are, of course, right now on this match right here.
He's going to be a nice early Adept being chrono boosted out. No Warp Gate research on the way.
So probably Stargate here for Neeb.
Yeah, does queue it up a little bit late there. And of course, you can always wall off with a potential pylon to keep any Reaper out. Yep, the probe stationed there. He's on anti-Reaper duty. Doesn't want to let SpeCial get a scout on.
And he drops that pylon there. The Adept is going to shoo away this Reaper for now. So the factory and everything rolls up back at home for SpeCial. Second gas as well. Everything pretty timed out normally there. There's that Stargate for Neeb.
Yeah, Stargate does go down. Warp Gate, of course, cancelled to afford the gas for that, and then restarts it again right afterwards. So Neeb here trying to hide information as much as possible. A couple of Marines on the low ground. Going to try and guard that SCV to finish that command center. But good focus fire here from Neeb. Going to pick up as many kills as he can. Is going to take out one Marine, but ooh.
Doesn't want to lose his Adept.
You do not want to lose that.
Oh, a miss shade there from Neeb, and he loses it. Adept for a Marine is a pretty bad trade in the early stages of the game.
Did get the SCV, but the command center finished, so I agree. SpeCial's got to be happy with that as a start, but ooh, the mule drops on the low ground. He's got to get that up. Does have to lift that to the high ground. Very fast Cyclone is the build order. The Adept sees that, realizes it, and this, of course, gives a little bit more freedom to Neeb. You don't need to be worried about those fast Hellion or Widowmine drops. When you see the early Cyclone like that, you're not really worried about the starport coming out quite as fast. And there is indeed a super fast third command center, Maynard.
Yeah, I love this greed here from SpeCial.
Feels like a mech opening. I feel like every time we see a Cyclone in a third command center, it's like we're going to see more than one Cyclone and we're going to see mech.
Yeah, usually that is. And SpeCial's already shown it in this tournament as well. He can do the style against Protoss and do it so effectively. Did it to Showtime. So we'll see how these builds unfold. Neeb's first Stargate unit sending across the map. In the early stages of the game, Phoenixes are really quite good against Cyclones, especially if you've got a ball of Stalkers out on the map and you just lift them up, pick them off, and really make things tougher for them. But when they get really high in numbers, that's when the relationship sort of shifts into the Terran's favor. Oh, nice shade here of the Adepts, getting a few SCVs.
Hot pickup. Ooh, drags the Widowmine into the SCVs.
So sick.
Oh man, the Phoenix, of course, surviving as well. A second liftoff there will be finishing off that Cyclone. Fantastic harassment here by Neeb, and already just taking out a good number of SCVs. The Reaper did a good job taking out 2 probes behind it, but nothing like the disruption that's being caused in the Terran's base. SpeCial here taking quite a bit of damage. And actually the Adepts committing again. There's not quite enough energy on those Phoenix though. I think that's an overcommitment there from Neeb.
Yeah, possibly wasn't looking at his energy there. Just assumed he had a lift and loses a Phoenix as well. Ooh, that overextension got a little messy there towards the end.
Yeah, I mean, he's committing hard to the Phoenix as well. You don't want to be losing those. Oh, that's really rough. A Viking's now out, taking a bit more damage on another Phoenix, heavily bruised here. Neeb does have a third base behind it, though. He's got a robo down. If there's one thing that always seems to impress me about Neeb in this matchup, it's his ability to somehow have an extra 30 probes at his base and another expansion every time you look back at his side of the map. No matter how much pressure Neeb puts on, he's always expanding behind it. He's adding his upgrade, building up on his infrastructure. And indeed, looks like mech it is there. Marines still being built out of the barracks, not wanting to give away the tell just yet, as well as, of course, the Marines being just a good anti-Phoenix unit.
And also anti-small amounts of gateway units. He doesn't have that many Cyclones either, so if another ball of Adepts come, you'd rather have a ball of Marines there on the ground, even without upgrades. More damage in the main base with these Phoenixes, getting a few SCVs. Doesn't want to lose a Phoenix to pick up the SCVs and trade, though.
Double lock micro was very nice there from SpeCial.
Yeah, recall.
Rather than just attack moving and letting them split the attacks, does he focus fire? Doesn't get the weakened Phoenix. Nice recall there by Neeb, keeping them alive.
Unfortunate missed opportunity there for SpeCial, but still has the opportunity to put damage on the board as the Liberator hugs the bottom edge of the map here. Try and find those mineral lions and damage Neeb's economy. And I mean, Roddy touched on it. Neeb is the kind of guy that never stops building probes. He is really powering ahead with those workers.
Look at this push, Maynard.
Yeah, we're going to have a bunker push here from SpeCial.
It's a real surprising one. A bunch of Cyclones, Marines, and Vikings, but the Phoenix coming in on the tail end of that. Going to catch a few Marines and a Viking. Oh, very nicely done. Not just that, but it also slowed SpeCial down. He started pulling units home to react to it, and only then does end up continuing across the map. A Liberator hitting the main base, though.
Liberator.
Recall's on cooldown. It's off cooldown right now. There is no way to recall. He's going to have to rely on Stalkers for that. The Phoenix are way out on the other side of the map, and there is a shield battery and a few sentries in the Mortal, but these Cyclones going to be really frustrating to deal with. The SCVs can offer some repair, but SpeCial here trying to use those lock-ons to the maximum effect. He's got force fields as well. You've got to be careful.
Yeah, if he gets a little bit too far forward here, the Cyclones will be cut from the pack. In fact, Phoenix is coming in to lift these Cyclones up, and like I mentioned, if they can get a mix-up with those Stalkers, they can be picked off, but it goes in the other direction here. The Cyclones picking off 3 Phoenixes. There's some nice force fields, does catch a Cyclone, but the trades are already good for SpeCial at the moment.
Yeah, he's keeping Neeb very occupied. Remember, he's got a third command center, and in fact, it's even landed at this point. He's taking the gases on that third base, of course, gas being a big shortage when you're playing mech here. SpeCial, he's adding 3 more factories he's trying to build up. The scary thing for SpeCial is that infrastructure still is on the way. It's not established just yet, and there's charge finished. There's Immortals on the map. The Stalkers are going to get another Cyclone kill using that high ground, and this is it, just a few Cyclones and Marines. That's not enough units for SpeCial.
And with this Prism to juggle as well, Cyclone lock-ons are going to be not as effective at all. Possibly not even effective at the slightest here as the Protoss units start to run up that ramp. The third is forced to lift. He does have a tank here, but the charge lots are on the front line and they're wrapping around the tank pig. I think Neeb might be able to break through SpeCial right here.
Yeah, there's just no meat. Neeb gonna crush through game number 1, keeping up the pressure all game long. And I think it all goes back to those early Adepts and Phoenixes picking up and just killing a lot of the SCVs on the natural. Felt like SpeCial there, going for the Cyclone Marine push. A cute surprise timing attack. Normally you see that hitting when the third Nexus isn't even finished. It was done. There was a shield battery and an Immortal in front of it, a pack of sentries and Stalkers. I think Neeb just grabbed a little bit too much momentum in that early game.
Couple slip-ups from Neeb, but as he started to find his footing and really sort of calm down and focus a bit, he managed to carve through the defenses of SpeCial and hit a great timing attack. Really punished him for moving out with those Cyclones, with those Marines. And it's just so... The power of this build feels like when those 3 factories are all spinning, you have a good number of tanks up, and you can also keep presence up with the Cyclone. SpeCial didn't really have any tanks to speak of. His ground army, like you mentioned, Cyclones and Marines. I mean, you're already up against Charge Lots, you're up against a Warp Prism, several Immortals. That's going to be a bad time.
Yeah, you know, it felt like there was a chance because those Phoenix kept going down. SpeCial did such a good job of locking them on. But Neeb always just a bit too much momentum behind that. Takes the first victory there. A bit of a messy game, number 1. Not exactly what I was expecting. In the past, when we see these two clash, there's usually one game that looks like that. But many of their matches are really back and forth. We see SpeCial just, he likes macro TvP. You know, he often complains that it's hard to make it work against the Protoss players, but he's so inspired by TY. TY is basically a mentor to SpeCial, and he's the guy who invented Legacy of the Void macro TvP. You know, many of the tenements of how to play really, really good late-game Terran are invented by TY and SpeCial. I mean, he's even been beating TY a lot of the time recently. He's looking so good.
Yeah. This guy in the bottom right, he's from Mexico, but he is essentially a Korean Terran. This is the Red Terran SpeCial.
A lot of Terran fans here today. Excited to see this one. And up here in the top left-hand side, dominating performance through this tournament so far. Representing Ting, it's Neeb.
Both these players very close. They've spent a lot of time together in Korea. The Unity House is practicing, playing in GSL as well. And look at this. Proxy Barracks from SpeCial, north side of King's Cove.
Yeah, you know, SpeCial basically a full-time resident over there in Korea in that Root Unity House. And it's Proxy Barracks build. There is both gases going down behind it.
Okay.
So, yep, heavily committed to the Proxy. There's a lot of different ways you can go with this. We saw this meta a lot in the tail end of last year. We've seen Protoss players experience it many times, and it's good for Neeb that he's gone for the Probe Scout. This is going to give him a heads up. Now, there's 2 ways you can respond. When you see no barracks in the wall-in, you can immediately take a second gas, really just play a 1-base response, or you just don't care, drop your Nexus anyway, and just continue with your build. So he's going to drop the Cyber Core, but he's cut probes. So it's just a slight reordering in the adjustment for Neeb. He's still going to get the Nexus down, and he is still going to be working up that economy. Big fan of Stargate against these builds in the past is Neeb. Once he gets out his early Adept and Stalker, we see him enjoying multiple Oracles as a way to see exactly what the follow-up is, and this is a great scout. Seeing the factory at home, Neeb immediately knows this is not a full-on proxy all-in. There won't be like tanks and cyclones coming across the map or anything like that. He confirms that the next thing he really needs to worry about is just a couple of Reapers coming in, and then maybe some surprise Banshees or a Liberator a bit later on.
Yeah, that's some popular follow-ups there for this kind of strategy of SpeCial. Now, Neeb did not get a Zealot, so he's just waiting for his tier 1.5 unit. The Stalker is going to be the choice for Neeb. Is losing probes here a little bit, that Reaper. Good micro from Neeb for the most part.
Ooh, he's going to get a second probe as it pops out of the gas. Nicely done there. The Stalker, though, is going to shoo that Reaper out of there. It's got to run away. Second Reaper did end up building here, and a Hellion on the way from that factory. It's going to start to float that barracks home. Command Center on the low ground. Okay, we see the follow-up there. Probe comes back in, does get denied on going into the main. Don't think he's seen the command center yet, actually. Did he get a glimpse of that?
He did.
Okay, he did.
Yeah, I'm surprised Neeb isn't actually just sending the Stalker across the map here. He can really, you know, not only that, it's a damaged SCV. It can really be annoying here for the expansion timing of SpeCial. And you called it big. Stargate getting down for Neeb as a response to this. And one of the reasons why you do this is there's not a whole lot that Terran has to be able to deal with Stargate units. You know, SpeCial could potentially put a tech lab in a factory and squeeze out a Cyclone, but will anything be out in time to be able to defend both his bases? It's a little bit tough. So he is going to go for the Widowmine option, which is the faster anti-Stargate option.
Yeah, for a second I thought he might have sped up his second and third barracks and gone that before Starport, but it looks like, yeah, Widowmine, maybe getting a Medevac, maybe a Liberator. It's basically going into a standard game, but Special's just given himself a few more tools to work with. These Reapers here bouncing around. He's actually going to commit with those. Dives in, does see the Stargate. We'd love one more probe, but good micro by Neeb. Does not take a lot of losses there, and every Reaper, every Hellion that falls, that's a little bit of the follow-up taken out for Special. He's going to start getting these add-ons going, but that barracks floating home, that's what hurts you as the Terran player. It takes you so long. You could have built an extra reactor with that, an extra tech lab. Because he doesn't have any of those, the follow-up a bit slowed down. Only now are his barracks starting to build up in his base.
Yeah, it's going to go for a bio build here on King's Cove. The Viking very, very critical to be able to defend against the Oracle. Likewise, the Cyclone, Oracle, and also Gateway Unit defense. Neeb's first Oracle heading through the middle of the map here. Special's Hellion on patrol duty at the front as he tries to secure his natural. I like the Liberator follow-up as well, even though it's a Stargate opening. Neeb is going to get Oracles first, so the Phoenix count, even if there is Phoenixes at all, are going to be very, very low, and the Liberator takes a long time to die. Yeah. Oh! Nearly got the bait, but not quite. Clever, clever stuff, but great hands from Neeb.
Very quick hands there to react to that in time. A clever trap from the Mexican Terran player. Doesn't quite pay off just yet. Neeb very quick on his feet today. He's got a third Oracle in production as well. This Widowmine repositioning. Looking to catch those Oracles flying around the map. Ooh, he's forgotten to burrow it, unfortunately.
Yeah, you got to get under there, mate.
So 3 barracks going down, a siege tank, marine production, extra tech lab special, just building on up into his standard position. Meanwhile, a third Nexus is on the way. Neeb is not going for Robo or Twilight yet, or Forge. He's really just building the economy. He's adding some adepts in here on the ground, and he's relying on those Oracles to keep Special pinned back.
He's made several Oracles, and he's cut... Oh, the Widowmine dives a little too deep there, gets an Oracle kill. Neeb's target opening has actually not been amazing just yet.
And is that the Liberator?
That's the Liberator.
That's the Liberator coming in on the north side of the map there. And Neeb, all of his anti-air is actually in his natural right now. No Phoenix out on this map. He's going to counterattack with his Oracles in there, but the Cyclone and the Viking quick to respond, going to push that on out of there. Meanwhile, the Liberator taking out 4 probes, repositioning. The Stalker a little bit slow to get back up there. That's a lot of mining time that he's losing right now.
Certainly is. Losing an Adept as well. A little bit of sloppiness from Neeb. And that Stalker's going to go down if he target fires it. Targets the Sentry, gets the Stalker.
Wow.
That Liberator did so much damage.
Special starting to gain some ground here in map number 2. And he is looking fantastic. That Raven, the Cyclone, just shutting down any attempt for Neeb to gain map vision there. Tank still producing non-stop here in that production tab. No sign of a third command center just yet, Maynard. This is not by any means an all-in from Special, but he's definitely building up a large army before expanding. Neeb opting for the charge lot style, having to replace some of those expensive gas units that he just lost, like the sentries. Neeb's going to be a while away from any splash damage.
Viking flying over the third Nexus here. Looks like he wants to try and land in the main and do probe damage there, as Neeb's army is actually out of position for this Viking.
Wow,
like, very out of position.
Slow response there from Neeb. His whole army spotting that, but not actually responding. That's going to be at least 4 workers going down to that Viking and losing a unit out of the map. Oh, it's a slippery slope, Maynard.
It certainly is, and Neeb slip sliding all over the place. Special starting to find some really good damage here with these Widow Mines in the middle of the map. Neeb, hard to keep his attention everywhere at once as Special spreading him very thin with constant pressure. Neeb's getting up towards Templar Archive, so he's going to go down the Templar path rather than the Colossus path here versus Special, at least for now. And Special is gearing up for a big push. He's got a great army supply advantage. A lot of his upgrades, Stim, Combat Shield, and +1 attack are about to finish. Great time to attack for the Terran.
Yeah, right now there's 6 Zealots, 2 Sentries, and 4 Stalkers out for Neeb. That's not an army. He's got a ton of Gateways finishing up, but that is a scary Terran force. Stim, Combat Shields, both are finished. +1 weapons is about to be done.
Oh, the Raven detects the Stasis Ward.
Yeah, easily dealt with there. Locks onto that. His army's coming forward. He sees how small it is. Special locks on with the anti-armor missile.
Big anti-armor. Almost everything of Neeb covered in Dorito dust here, and there is just so much damage output here for the Terran. Gets the feedback on the Raven, though.
Lovely
that could
feedback.
be huge for Neeb.
The force field's buying valuable time, shaved off some of the Marines. He's going to go for it. The anti-armor missile still on those units.
All these tanks.
Oh, that tank volley is huge. The bio on the right-hand side crushing through the Zealots. That Archon's desperately trying to get out of there. It does escape, but SpeCial still maintaining position in front of this third base.
+1 armor done for Neeb, makes these Zealots a little bit tankier here, negates that upgrade for the Terran, but there's still so many units for the Protoss that will just fold so fast. The Stim Bio with the medevac support. Another medevac coming up here with more energy to engage. The Raven still not too useful here except for detection. The tank out of range here, he kites back to the tank range. Still just the one tank, the Zealots get on top of it. He's going to take it down. Does SpeCial get held? Mostly
Marauders here, not a lot of anti-Zealot damage, but there's just so little to work with for Neeb. A handful of Zealot Stalkers and a Sentry. It's a ragtag army. He's going to try and make another Archon. He's trying to get out an Immortal. SpeCial, though, has got a lot of energy. He's got medevacs. His Raven still alive. Lots of Marauders, and now the Widow Mine's anchoring that position. If he charges into that, Neeb Zealots are toast.
Oh no, they are! Double Widow Mine here. Neeb splits the last second, but still so much damage on those Zealots. They're very, very softened up. This bio still has lots of hit points. And he's still pushing forward here. More Widow Mines reinforcing for SpeCial as well. These Archons really benefiting there from that shield battery. Really interference matrix.
Right on the Archon. That is just devastating. And he's getting worn down. Neeb somehow hanging on for now. Is he going to take out the Liberator? He gets rid of the Liberator. Somehow he's managed to maintain this position, but another Liberator sieges up immediately. It feels like this is a never-ending push from SpeCial.
These Immortals are going to help out a lot against the Marauders, but the Widow Mines, the Liberators, they're a big problem for Neeb. As both of them in tandem make things very tough for the Protoss to hold here. The Zealots pull back just in time. In fact, the Mines discharge as well. So maybe another warp-in round from Neeb. He can start to get a little bit of traction, but this looks still so rough.
I'd actually like to see SpeCial pull back and start to hit different bases from here. It feels like maybe this could get a bit inefficient, but even as I say that, he shaves off a whole pack of Zealots. It's just whenever those Immortals connect with the Marauders, they disappear.
Second Liberator going to make this very, very tough. Not that many Stalkers, no Archons here in this army to be able to shoot up in the air. Sentries technically have anti-air, but it's a little bit laughable. In comes the Widow Mines here, pushing a little bit far forward. SpeCial extended too far with the last pair of Widow Mines, but these two are nicely placed here defending that bio. This is such an obnoxious position for the Terran.
That's 3 Liberators versus 6 Stalkers. You just cannot engage into the Liberators with such a low Stalker count. There's just not enough units for Neeb. He's trying to take a fourth on the south side. An anti-armor missile goes down again. The Immortal count means this is a no-go zone for those Marauders, but the Liberators stopping the Protoss army. Every time he comes forward, he gets punished.
And SpeCial feels confident to stand a little bit further here with that bio army. His Widow Mine's getting thinned out. The other two are going to connect here with the Archon, killing the Archon. And it looks like these Liberators are outputting tons of damage to Neeb.
Oh, the Immortal count has fallen. There's only one left. And the focus fire is good. It falls. The Liberator's standing strong. The Widow Mines landing shots to take out the last Stalkers. SpeCial pushing through Neeb's defenses.
Wow, GG. SpeCial tying it up just like that. We got ourselves a series. What a beautiful, constant pressure, constant macro from SpeCial, streaming across the map and just doing everything right there towards the end. Put his foot on Neeb's neck and did not let go.
I was worried there after such a decisive Game 1 victory from Neeb, and I don't feel like the opening was looking that good for SpeCial. But things started to just chain together so nicely. The Widow Mines positioning around the map, the Cyclones deflecting the Oracles. I mean, it was in the space of about 20 seconds we saw a Widow Mine snap an Oracle that hit the mineral line. Another Oracle went down in the middle of the map. We saw the Viking land after the Liberator had already done big damage in the main.
Yeah, the Liberator got like a Sentry, 2 Stalkers or something like that, and probe damage. It was absolutely insane. You don't see Liberators trade that well that often.
That's not meant to happen against a caliber, you know, a player the caliber of Neeb. So Neeb there a little bit frustrated with how he let things fall apart after quite a good opening. And yeah, there was like the moment there where, you know, the Viking envisioned for a solid 7 seconds before it landed, and he didn't react until it landed in the main base.
Yeah.
That's something which never happens to Neeb. So, you know, very clean Game 1. Game 2, he hung on well, but I think he's a little bit frustrated, feeling like the build order went his way, and he wasn't able to capitalize on it.
Hopefully we can get a cleaner game here from Neeb, the American Protoss, as we head towards game number 3. Going to be on Automaton. Nice big map there, plenty of space, lots of proxy locations. One of the more popular proxy maps. It's just so hard to scout. Likewise for Neeb as well. I'd love to see him get aggressive, maybe chuck a Stargate on the other side of the map. This is another one of those great proxy Stargate maps.
Yeah, we've seen some wild builds out there. Some very fast Warp Prism pushes as well. We saw Showtime open up his series against SpeCial with one, which didn't necessarily give Showtime an advantage since SpeCial defended very well, but you could tell that it was very close to breaking through. And it is going to be a big map here. Map number 3, it's tied up 1-1 apiece here in this semi-final match. It is the first semi-finals here at WCS Spring in Kiev at the Cybersport Arena. It's been an amazing event so far. So many close matches, and it's about to continue. Down here in the left-hand side, representing Ting, the blue Protoss player. In the left, he is Neeb.
And on the far right in the red, this is Juanito Teñacalos. He is SpeCial. Trying to time that out with Alexis there.
I've been trying the whole day.
Dude,
I've maybe got
it's
about.
so hard.
It's like a 10% hit rate. Yeah.
It is a 10% hit rate here. White Ra sometimes and Alex like to extend the second introduction.
Oh, sometimes it's like a 20-second one. Yeah.
Sometimes they don't do it at all. And as WCS commentators, we just like always do it. Just getting used to the way things flow now. Getting a little bit.
Well, you know, StarCraft players, they do sometimes get confused if we don't remind you of who the players are at the start of every single game,
exactly.
Right?
All those people out there like, look,
who's playing again?
Is it still the same Protoss as the last game? I mean, I know he's still sitting on stage, but is it the same guy, though?
Are we not playing Rally, you know, the kind of tag team, you know, just switch players in and out? No, unfortunately we're not. The probe going to come in nice and early for Neeb, having a bit of a zippy zap. Looks like it has been a barracks first opening for SpeCial. So it is going to be Reaper Marine. And of course, looking to get as much damage on that probe as possible to stop it from blocking the command center going down. That's a 2 SCV job. This is not something you get 1 SCV to do.
The early game TvP dance, it is just, it's beautiful.
You'll notice that the probe wasn't blocking for a while because Neeb knew the exact second when SpeCial would have 400 minerals. So he came in right at 1 minute 43 and was like, hey, you can't put your command center down. SpeCial had to misplace that. And of course, just a couple of seconds to move that over, forcing the SCV to the low ground. This is kind of like your, why not annoy the Terran player a little bit at the start? You get scouting with the probe, you get a little bit of damage done. And I think, you know, my own personal rule when I'm playing StarCraft is anything to annoy the opponent is usually a good thing.
That's right. I got a depth opening here again from Neeb.
No Reaper wall.
Yeah, no Reaper wall. First Reaper coming on down to chase down that hurt probe. He's going to get it too. That's for making me misplace my CC. Take that.
Revenge. And might be able to go into that main base. It's Sentry second here for Neeb.
Whoa.
He's going to go for a Hallucination Scout. Okay. So I would imagine we're going to see a rather defensive opening to follow that up. I wouldn't be surprised if it was something like Robo straight into Colossus. Twilight does go down here. And that Adept there trying to take out that Reaper. The Reaper looking for a probe snipe. And not... Oh, actually
nice.
Slides around there. That Sentry accidentally was attacking its own probe for a second. It was meant to be A-moved onto the Reaper. And yeah, ended up having to drop the force field. Now that delays the Hallucination Scout. So
certainly.
That's a little bit frustrating. Neeb has no idea what's going on the other side of the map as the follow-up. He knew it was a barracks gas opening. So he knows it's not like the really fast factory into like a crazy early Hellion drop, but he still would love to know if there's a reacted factory or something like that.
SpeCial sending a Widowmine out here towards the ramp. Looks like it's an anti-Stargate Widowmine as the Adept rally gets through. It's not going to have to deal with that Widowmine. SpeCial not 100% on what Neeb's doing tech-wise, so just covering his bases, literally and figuratively.
We've seen a ton of Cloaked Banshee from SpeCial in his recent play.
Oops.
Oh, you do not want to let that Adept in there, and it sees everything. The Marines are ready, so he is at least going to be taking out that Adept and immediately choosing to abandon the Banshee tech. Cancels the Banshee, starts Cloak as a fake, and then queues up a Raven. Cancels Cloak as soon as the Adept is done. So just deciding to go for that Raven opening, whether or not he intended it from the start. Stim's already on the way and lots of Marine production. So SpeCial getting well set up for the next stage. You can hit a very, very powerful push with this Raven. It's a tech lab on the factory. Yeah, you could push with 2 siege tanks and a ton of Marines. I would actually, I feel like there's some brutal 2-base timings you can do off this.
Yeah, certainly. And the Raven, you know, if Neeb wants to go down the Colossus path to try and deal with this, or even if he just wanted to go to the Colossus path in general, the Raven can not only interference matrix, can also, as we saw in the last game, drop anti-armor missiles, auto turret if it need be. And just the fact that the Raven exists in the early stages of the game means it can just get rid of observers without scanning. Really has a lot of early game utility. He sees the Widowmine with the hallucinated Phoenix, so...
Just going to have to wait for Blink to finish here is Neeb, and then of course he can dodge the Widowmine shot in midair. Hallucination not able to get much information though. And there we go, Blink is now done. Neeb just going to blink right past that, takes out the Widowmine, and an Observer coming across. Of course, this is a huge, wide open main base on Automaton, and the Siege Tank and the Bunker going to cover the front.
And Neeb can't do a whole lot here. One bunker, one tank is enough to deal with a small group of Stalkers like this. Observer of SpeCial trying to head into the main base. Observer of Neeb heading into SpeCial's main base. Stalkers shaving off one Marine there. Where's that Raven at? Is he trying to hide it?
Yeah, I love this. Raven. Oh, he's actually thinking about
auto turret harassment?
Yeah.
That's so risky.
Is he going to go for both? Goes for both of them there. The Stalkers blink forward, but good focus fire. Does manage to take out 4 probes. The Raven, though, trapped in the corner a little bit. Single Marine here, being an absolute hero, forces an entire probe line out of there.
Don't worry, Juan, I got this. He's actually killing probes for those Marines, by the way.
Oh, dude. Dude.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
Rambo. Damn.
Rambo Marines, what every Terran player's wishes they had. 1-1 upgrades in charge on the way here. Neeb, I think, really appreciating the power of the potential push that could be coming out later in this game. I mean, there's plenty of dead space on this map, so I think that Raven should be able to slide out here later on when Neeb's distracted. You don't really want to leave an Observer and a ton of Stalkers just to guard against that. And double medevac production on the way. 3rd Command Center building on location. SpeCial looking like he doesn't want to really commit to any sort of push until he's got medevacs. He's going to roam around the map, see if he can catch the Stalker, see if he can scare his opponent. But there's no way he continues across the map with this.
Yeah, it seems like he's trying to bully Neeb back and make him feel afraid of committing. Another auto turret here, getting 1 probe, nearly 2. They got stuck a little bit there. Looks like he picked off another Stalker as well.
Yeah. Oh! Very ambitious. I'm surprised he's pushing so deep. The
medevacs are here. They're boosted across the map.
He scanned to see that the Stalkers weren't up there. They are coming back now. He's going to catch a glimpse of them, and we do see some of those Stalkers recalled as well. Uh-oh, SpeCial's got to be careful. Those Stalkers recalled into the main base. They're ready to blink on top of this. You don't want to go too deep here, as SpeCial Neeb knows about this. Does he, though? His Stalkers have just ran back into the middle of the map.
What? Well,
oh, man.
That's a lot of probe damage here. Neeb with a missed call. Main base getting completely ravaged by the drops of SpeCial. And if he can get these medevacs out as well, he loses 1, but still gets rid of the 2nd. 13 probe kills, I feel like that's worth it.
Well worth it for SpeCial. He's got his 3rd base up now. He's adding his 4th and 5th barracks. His Widowmine count's growing. His own +1 weapons is going to be timing out with the 1-1 of Neeb. This is not a bad position for SpeCial at all. And Neeb there with a big uncharacteristic misplay. SpeCial adding insult to injury with yet another auto turret, disrupting Neeb's economy. The Raven going to try and get out of there. The Stalker's going to have something to say about that.
Yeah, the Raven is dead now, but boy, was its time a horrifying and a tyrannical one. He got 7 probe kills with that Raven.
SpeCial with a solid 20 supply lead here. A very nice game here, but we've talked about this map. It's big, it's large, it's hard to get across there and close the game out. We've seen Storm, Colossus, lots of these kind of late game powerful abilities for Protoss, kind of dragging them back into games. The problem for Neeb is that he's on 52 workers. He's got his 2-2 upgrades. That's going to be great when those kick in. But on this economy with no probe production, it feels like Neeb is going to have to all in. I feel like he's just building a gigantic army. He's hoping SpeCial overextends. If he can snap a drop, maybe clean up a little bit of bio here or there, he's going to be able to hit a very powerful attack to the other side of the map. But right now, Neeb is pretty much just massing army, and he's not working on his long game at all.
Yeah, he's got 3 gases here. Widowmine dropped from SpeCial. The probe's trying to pull back, but a lot of them die here. The main base also getting dropped on. SpeCial everywhere at once, and Neeb getting spread way too thin.
Oh man, SpeCial is just turning Neeb's base into a wasteland right now. The probe's going down in the main, in the 3rd.
Oh, it was anti-medevac.
Yeah, that's not the medevac you want to snipe. The Widowmine drop doing so much. Neeb has got to be frustrated. He's got a gigantic army, but it's just never in the right position. And this is not something Neeb is happy about. He's going to try and respond with a Zealot counter. SpeCial is all over it.
Look how many Widowmines he has. It's just nothing but reactive Widow Mines here from Special. Got 9 here, a bunch of them in the main base.
Against what is essentially a mass charge lot all in. We've got Blink Stalkers charge lots, a couple of Immortals and a Sentry. All you need is mass Widow Mines here. A couple of Siege Tanks even anchoring the position.
God, Neeb
Special,
can't break this.
He's just in charge. I mean, Neeb's down 30 workers. He's going to try and break him right here, but it's a desperate attempt.
In come the charge lots. They're going to get on top of the tanks, which is really nice, but in comes the rest of the units of Special. Still so much more bio coming in from that third base. Neeb Zealots got sort of carved there. He does get rid of the Widow Mines at least, or at least a few of them. Special pulling back into the natural. Can Neeb do this? He's bringing the boys in for the third as well to get a like the linebacker, see if them reads. The Immortals get taken out. Oh, that's a nice pick off the Special.
He had to abandon those Immortals running away from the SCVs, but the SCV's going to rejoin the fight here. It's a desperate assault from Neeb, but he's left with just the dregs of a Protoss army. A couple of Stalkers going to try to go into that main. The Widow Mine says, nah!
And just like that, Special, as close as you possibly can be here to the grand final. He's 1 map away, currently on match point here in the semi-final.
Wow. Special playing such a clean game there. You don't play against that auto turret harass very much, but it's these little things that a very powerful Terran player mixes into their play. You know, when you're playing at the peak of StarCraft, it's about adding in those little things to disrupt your opponent. I feel like the auto turrets coming in, the movement on the map, the way Special just kind of moved those drops into the main base, hid them in the corner after seeing that the Stalkers were out of position. And you know, I thought Neeb realized what was happening, but multiple times he was caught with his whole army sitting in his natural, and his main and his third base just got ransacked. Special there, just looking like the stronger player, looking like he's in a class of his own.
And he is one of those players. He's so old school. He's no stranger to the stage. He is so calm and collected and just seems to be in control and confident. Neeb, however, looking very disappointed in himself, a little bit hard on himself. He's one of those players that can come back. He has come back from deficits like this before. It is tough, though. Special just looking so dominating in the last couple games.
Yeah, this was a very nice game there. One more map for Special, and this is where the psychology comes into it. This is where him as a player, he needs to break through that mental barrier. Years ago, when Special was nowhere near the caliber of player that he is now, but he was still very good, it was always struggling to finish his way through a group stage. He would always win a match, get into the winner's match, be 1 map from advancing, and then he would lose 2 maps in a row against a really good player, often a player who he'd beaten earlier on, and then he would lose in the loser's match, or the final elimination match. That was the story for years in WCS America in the early days of 2014, 2015 for Special. And that's not him anymore, but he still has struggled to make it to the grand finals. The semifinals appearances are almost a shoo-in for him. Making it past here, it would just be a life-changing event for Special.
Absolutely. He's so close. Can taste it. I'd really love to see him here in this grand final, just because he's been wanting it for so long and he's so close. He's worked so hard to get here. It's one of the funniest things was I remember the GSL group picking stages, TY was saying Special's going to do well because he's going to come back from WCS, he's not going to win it, and he's going to be angry. It's TY being a bit of a troll there, one of his best friends in Korea. And Special is essentially a Korean Terran. He's so similar in level and in decision-making. And TY, one of the smartest players on the entire planet, both of them share builds and have helped each other out when it comes to tournaments. When they play in the same tournament, they will actually save builds so that when the other player who is still in the tournament can hide them and use them there in their upcoming series.
Making sure they don't reveal their practice partners' secrets. You know, they've got that camaraderie, and the amount of hours they put into preparing their build orders is absolutely immense. Let's see if he's got another one to close out the series. 1 game away from the grand finals. In the bottom right, in the red, he is Special.
Almost. It's still so hard. In the top left here, North American Protoss in the blue, represented by Ting. You know him, you love him. This is Neeb. It's going to need all your energy out there in Twitch chat. I know all the Doritos are being spammed right now. It is a fun copy pasta, but there are a lot of Neeb fans out there. Whatever copy pasta you can find to make Neeb get the energy and fill all your Twitch hearts and minds to power him through in this series. You guys figure it out.
Yeah, there aren't too many words that rhyme with Neeb, but Twitch chat, an endless source of creativity. I'm sure they're going to find
is there
a few
read
good ones.
emote out there? Does anyone have a read?
Creed? I don't know.
Creed?
Weeb, of course, I think is
Weeb, yes.
the usual.
There we go. Perfect. Perfect.
The probe comes in here, and it's just going to have a little poke around. Sees once again it's a barracks gas opening from SpeCial. Going for the very quick Reaper here on Kairos Junction. And probe going to do a bit of a rotation. As we pointed out earlier, doesn't want to lose his hit points until a bit later when that command center is going to go down there. And that was actually a cool adjustment. SpeCial delayed his orbital command in order to start the command center earlier, just to make sure Neeb couldn't block it. And that's due to Neeb wanting to come in at the last second. So SpeCial adjusting that, I don't know if it's worth it. I feel like the orbital timing is more important, but you know what? It does stop your opponent disrupting your build order and throwing your rhythm off. So I do like those little tiny adjustments there. That probe gonna hide off to the side.
Yeah, he's just trying to avoid the Reaper here. SpeCial looking for that probe, would love to kill it on the way through the Protoss base, but of course the priority here for this Reaper isn't probe damage, although it is always nice. It is to see what the Protoss is up to and report back home to his Terran commander. It's going to be a robo opening here for Neeb, a little bit different from the last couple games.
You know, I wouldn't mind some two-base Colossus, kind of slightly slower third opening for Neeb. I feel like Neeb just needs to find some style where he can anchor down his defense. This series starting to run away for him a little bit. Another Adept is going to be coming out. Doesn't want to lose any probes to this.
Sees the Robo as well with this Reaper.
Nice. This Reaper MVP so far. He's got 2 ways out of that base on the left-hand side as well. At the same time, the command center finishes in time. Of course, the other adjustment, it's not just does your command center not get blocked, it finishes that 10 seconds earlier if you delay the orbital command center. Any doubts I have about skipping the command center by a few seconds to start it quicker? I mean, that's just really smart by SpeCial. He knows it's a short rush distance map. Protoss players want to screw with your build order. They want to kill the command center, SCV, and slow everything down. But instead, SpeCial's in control. Second barracks got spotted there, didn't it?
Yeah, just on the edge of the vision there for the Adept, close enough to see.
That's sloppy placement for SpeCial. That shouldn't really be happening because you want to hide that because that fast second barracks can lead into some really powerful 2-base pushes.
And Neeb's going for the Prism here. SpeCial, of course, is aware of it. He was going to make a tank, but he actually started making a Cyclone instead, which I think is a lot better considering we got a Prism coming out. It's almost like he remembered he saw a Robo instead of a Twilight Council or a Stargate.
Oh,
Reaper's surrounded and killed there.
Nicely done. Does see everything, though. The Robo, the Warp Prism already on the way across the map. And Colossus Bay goes down behind us. I like this opening from Neeb. The Cyclone, though, going to try and shut down that Adept. The Warp Prism with the save. Nicely done there. So a couple of Stalkers and an Adept can always warp in one more Stalker, drop in and start picking off SCVs. With the Cyclone, though, you've got to be real careful with this.
Neeb just taking a little bit of damage there, breaking the lock on with the Warp Prism Micro. That's a lot of Marines.
You got to get out of there. That's real dangerous. Yep, good micro from both sides there. Neeb, I think he's got to make sure he doesn't overextend with this. Just be really, really careful. If you can get an SCV kill or 2, that's great. Fresh mules on the side there. But don't overcommit. Whoa, picking up at the last minute. Does get a Marine and an SCV. Not bad, not bad.
Delays the bunker some. Heading up to the main base is Neeb, but just taking the better part of Valor here. Doesn't want to lose this Prism because that really just takes the wind out of any sails that he wanted to have in the early stages of the game here. Straight into Colossus, and this is a great unit to add if you want to be able to hold a big timing attack from Terran, which after scouting that second barracks, he certainly believes that to be a pretty nice possibility.
Shuts down the Marine that was trying to get out of the map to scout there a little bit. That Prism just creating some real threat here. The Raven is going to be coming out at the same time as the Colossus, and that's a great read from SpeCial. I mean, Raven's always not a bad unit, but realistically, it's not nearly as useful versus Stargate opening. Versus Colossus, this is the dream. It's so nice at shutting those down. And upon seeing this, you got to run. You got to run. Oh, Neeb's too busy microing his Prism, and because of that, he will lose the Observer in the main base.
Yeah, down it goes. I mean, he got information at least before the Observer dies. It does sting to lose it, though, so he can't really get into the main basics unless he sort of unsieges this Observer and sends it across the map. But I don't think he wants to do that. He wants to see if the Terran's moving down these paths to pressure his third or if he's heading towards his main. So those Observers are pretty important. Colossus hitting the field here, second one on the way for Neeb.
The bio count is going to be monstrous. Remember how early that second barracks was in this game. Marines and Marauders have already been building up for a while. The third barracks is down. We're going to see combat shields starting up for SpeCial in a moment, and it's a race to get enough units up to defend. Notice how Neeb is not building probes. That is the absolute correct decision right now, because in this fight, you cannot stop your Colossus getting interference matrix. You need enough units to go out, engage the Terran in the middle of the map, force out those interference matrices and then pull back little bit by little bit. And if you don't have enough units on the ground to cover you, the bio is going to stim on top and just overrun. So right now, we've got SpeCial building towards a gigantic bio Raven siege tank push. At the same time, Neeb racing up that gateway count, only inching out just 1 or 2 probes at a time, but focusing on charge. Colossus range, +1 armor. He needs to warp in a ton of units in the next minute or two to make sure he's 100% safe against this eventuality. And the Warp Prism could actually maybe cancel the 3rd command center. If he, I don't think the SCV spots him. He's got to be careful though.
Yeah. It's not like there's a Viking here for SpeCial or anything like that, so the Prism just has to skirt the edges of the map. That 3rd would be a juicy target here for Neeb. If you can force a cancel there, that's amazing. This Observer also pretty amazing for Neeb. Sees the army of SpeCial, sees he's culminated it all together, and is moving out.
That is a big, scary army right now. Neeb, he's got a good charge lot count. Charge, +1 armor, timing out perfectly. Just as this push is coming across the map, Neeb's upgrades all timing out. He's ready. He's going to jump on this, and he just goes for it. Jumping on top of that bio. Doesn't want to chase it down just yet. I feel like he might have been able to do it. Ooh. Zealot's going into the main base. 1 Zealot hitting the command center on the 3rd. At the same time, that Cyclone Micro from SpeCial off the charts takes down the War Prism.
Does get the Cyclone there, but getting rid of the Prism and also delaying the 3rd. Bit of damage to all players here. Ooh. Oh, the Colossus, where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going? Where are you going?
Oh no, that Colossus in the open takes a lot of hits there. Guardian Shield is good. Interference Matrix, though, is massive. But the tanks are exposed at the front. Those tanks going down is crucial. The problem is, though, 1 Colossus has fallen. The other 2, though, getting out of Interference Matrix, and Neeb. The Zealot count is good. He holds on. He crushes through that engagement. And, oh my gosh, the 3rd command center got cancelled, Maynard, in the midst of that.
Wow, that Zealot managed to get rid of it there. Did he kill it or did he cancel it?
I mean, either way, it's disastrous if it gets cancelled. It's terrible. What's worse than disastrous? If he didn't even get the refund on it.
I don't know.
Catastrophic, disastrous. Maybe not quite game-ending, but definitely not a good start. I think Neeb here, he just read the play perfectly with the Observer scouting. He was so well prepared with his upgrades. He counterattacked with 3 Zealots and shut down the attack.
Oh man, this attack from Neeb is just too strong. He's going to go and pressure SpeCial here with these many charge lots. They've got their +1 armor. They're ready to fight. Neeb feeling like he doesn't want to overextend here. He knows he has a pretty huge lead considering the amount of times he's cancelled this 3rd. He knows the Terran's on 2 bases right now. And when you're ahead, Pig, you get further ahead. And that's exactly what Neeb's doing. Getting his gases here at the 3rd base. Yeah. Getting that 2nd Forge, +2 armor for his gateway units. And I guess the Colossus as well. Pretty good stuff.
Yeah, you know, he had to cut a bit of economy. He was actually not in the economy lead when that push happened for SpeCial. He was kind of relatively even, but he just cut at the right time, built a big army, and he is ready and waiting. The 2nd Forge coming down, as is the Templar
Liberator.
Archives. Lovely Liberator, going to do a bit of damage in the main base. Just light pressure there from SpeCial.
His warp-in's a little bit unfortunate there for Neeb.
Yeah,
oh that
my
one too.
lord, his Liberator handling.
That's three Stalker kills and 4 probes.
These are uncharacteristic mistakes here from Neeb, and the gigantic 2-base all-in is still coming, Maynard. He's just gone for a 4th base, a Templar Archives, a 2nd Forge. None of that has kicked in yet. SpeCial still has a gigantic army, and I feel like you cannot let this get an amazing position. You've got to jump on this in the open ground as Neeb, or you've got to buy a lot of time. Zealot's going to counterattack, but on the front, the main army sieging up.
Certainly is. One of these tanks going to go down quite fast. The Vikings also getting into those Colossus count. Feedback's there as well from Neeb. He's pressing to buy it back. Nice force fields as well to keep a lot of these units on the back line while these Colossus do damage from the backside. He's losing another Colossus there to the Vikings, though. The Vikings still being so annoying for Neeb. These tanks on the back line for SpeCial also hammering on those Stalkers. The Bio's still alive. Neeb pushing forward with his Archon. He just has enough. Neeb is going to take it to the ace match.
Ooh. I am sure Neeb is breathing a sigh of relief right there. After that first hold, the incredible cancel on the 3rd base, the Zealot counterattack, everything was going Neeb's way. But yet, despite that, a moment of him wavering there under pressure with that Liberator, an uncharacteristic mistake, something which he knows he shouldn't be doing. He's going to have to tighten it up and have another clean game here. It's tied up 2-2 apiece, Maynard. This could go either way. I'm so excited for this 5th match.
And our 5th map will be Cyber Forest, shortest rush distance in the tournament map pool.
Oh, man. Oh, that's nerve-wracking.
So many different factors here in this map. It's such a popular 2-base all-in map for both players, really.
Yeah, I mean, there's like so many weird, janky builds you can do. This is the build, the map, sorry, where Classic debuted the Tempest Rush on 2-base. Like, it's just such a weird short rush distance map. And here, when everything's on the line, that just raises the stakes so much. It's one of the most stressful things to deal with as one of these players. You know, semifinals is great, and I'm sure they'll be very happy a few days or a week from now at having made it this far, but whoever loses is going to be absolutely crushed after this, and the winner is going to be so happy. Getting that spot in the grand finals is everything right now.
These guys aren't here for top 4. They didn't come here going, I want that top 4, that's my dream. Absolutely not. It is to be the champion. Anything else would be a disappointment for these gods of the greatest game in the whole planet. Ladies and gentlemen, let's get into it in the bottom right here for the last time in this semifinal. This is the Mexican Terran SpeCial.
Nicely timed, Maynard.
Not bad, not bad.
And up here in the top left-hand side, his opponent in the blue, clawing it back to 2-2 apiece. Representing Ting in America, it's Neeb.
Oh, a bit of a late finish there, Pig.
You know, I'd rather be late than early.
That's
I
right.
like to make sure my introduction is well-rounded out. We explain the country, team, nationality, and oh my lord, it's the 2-Rax TVZ build that we keep seeing. This tournament, we have seen so much 2-Barracks Proxy Marine Rush where they try to cancel this expansion, and with that gateway exposed on the low ground, it's very dangerous. If that gateway gets depowered, you're in huge trouble as Neeb.
Yeah, this is very, very cheeky. Neeb is going to see here. The main thing that gives this away is the lack of gas for SpeCial. Remember when Neeb spotted the last proxy barracks from SpeCial on Kings Cove, he saw the gases and he knew that this was going to be a proxy Reaper, and this time he knows it's proxy Marines.
Yeah, you see that there is no second gas. The first gas is incredibly late. And you know immediately this is Proxy Marine. How is he going to react? Immediate second pylon. Is it here reinforcing the gateway? No, it's in the main base. And he's going to Chrono Boost to Zealot. Starts a Cybernetics core. And it's a micro battle. You almost inevitably have to pull probes down to support this. As Neeb, you can't let the bunkers get up here.
SV's like, just letting you know we're coming. We're on our way.
I wonder if this is better or worse for SpeCial having those gateways down.
Whoa! Yeah, I mean, Neeb has to pull pros, so SpeCial's going to pull the boys as well, and we're going to have boys versus tier 1 units here.
Oh my
on both
lord.
sides of the map for the deciding map here. This is going to get intense.
He's pulled 4 probes. That's going to stop this first SCV or so.
Nice.
But he's going to need more if he wants to continue to hold on. Is he going to fight for this position? I think Neeb is. Oh, but that's a ton of SCVs. This is so dangerous.
Stuck. He's got the Zealot. Big pick off there for SpeCial. Another one comes in from the gateway at least. But that's not 2 gateway units, it's just a 1 now. SpeCial's got these Marines on body block. The SCVs are keeping the Marines safe here.
Whoa.
SpeCial gets forward, he gets the bunker. Oh no, that's it. SpeCial has done it. He's got his first WCS Grand Final appearance in his entire career. Congratulations to SpeCial. What a finish, so crazy aggressive.
Oh my God. Just like that.
Just like that.
Wow.
Cyber Forest, man.
Wow.
What a series, dude. All 5 games. We deserve it. The series deserves it. So sick. Guys, thank you for enjoying the cast. We're going to go to stage for an interview with Smix and SpeCial.
Wow, congratulations, SpeCial. You take down Neeb. You're in the grand finals, and this is absolutely momentous as it's for the first time in your StarCraft 2 career. Please tell us, what does this moment mean for you?
I'm very happy, especially because after game 4, I feel like I freestyled too much. So I didn't know what I was doing, so I kind of deserved that loss, but I'm really, really happy that I got to the finals right now.
And I know, SpeCial, that you are someone that likes to prepare for your opponents as best as you can. You've played against Neeb quite a bit in the past. Going up against him today, what was your preparation like?
You know, I talked to Deer before I play, and he just told me I should just try to enjoy the game. And that's what I did, but I obviously did some preparation for Neeb, and I knew the last game that he would make the gateway on the low ground, so I had this all in no matter what.
Well, now you took him down. It was a fantastic series to watch, but you're in the grand finals. making the grand finals is amazing, but what's more amazing than that is, of course, becoming champion. And if you want to do that, you need to take down either Raynor or SpeCial. Now, both of these players you have history with them. Last year, they actually both eliminated you at different WCS events, so there's an opportunity for revenge here. Who do you prefer?
I don't really prepare for anyone, but I think they're both really good, so I think they have different styles also, so I'm just going to try to prepare accordingly to whoever I play.
Sounds fantastic, but congratulations once again with that SpeCial makes it to the grand finals.
No other way to describe it than what a baller. Amazing stuff by SpeCial. He not only breaks his round of 4 curse, but he now also moves on to the grand final in ridiculous fashion there as he goes through 3-2 against Neeb. Joining me, Todd and Benjamin Baker himself. And as the resident Terran, you've got to be feeling good after seeing how that all went down at the very end. That was crazy.
I mean, SpeCial has been the guy that we have looked to in the foreign scene. It's the guy that really plays like the Korean Terrans.
Yeah.
And he displayed a huge variety of strategies, was utilizing Raven a lot. In the last game, he actually talked to me earlier and he was like, Big Ben, what do you think about putting 2 racks here against this gateway in the low ground? And I was like, that's risky, Papi. He's like, but I know he's going to do it for sure. So he was preparing a lot. He displayed some really good games, crazy openings. And yeah, after the first game, by the way, Neeb stomped him really hard, so I was looking a bit worried because that top 4 curse that he kind of has. But this is the first time we've had a Terran in the final of WCS, I think, ever.
Is it?
I think so. I think this is the first time. So we could be looking at a Terran champion kind of realistically, although it is a monster in the other side of the bracket.
Ben, you've caught me off guard. I'm trying to think now back. But I can only imagine that you're correct in that assessment. And let's talk about all these games as they really unfold here, Todd, because obviously it was a really, really back and forth series.
Yeah, I mean, SpeCial, he brought different builds every single time. He was very well prepared. Neeb kind of did what you would expect out of Neeb, played solid throughout and did what he's supposed to, but SpeCial just took it to the next level. You can tell he's been practicing. It's been such a long time coming, I feel, for him. Again, 6 times he was in the semifinals in Premier tournaments, and 6 times he lost and only made top 4. Now, finally, he gets his first grand finals here, and what better time than when White is in the building to bust out some special tactics?
You're not wrong. Definitely not wrong. And neither was Ben wrong as well. It is indeed, especially 2017, 2018, all Protosses and Zergs. You're completely right. I'm astonished. I just didn't think about it, but it's an amazing thing to already see. And who better than SpeCial to be able to make it?
I mean, the fact that he's made as many top 4s as he has, and everybody in the foreign scene knows SpeCial is a practice monster. I mean, he gets so far in tournaments, but then falls on the kind of last hurdle. But here, he actually took down Neeb. And I mean, Neeb, I think, has been kind of his weak spot for a little while here. But this whole series, man, it was so messy, it was so scrappy. We saw Neeb fall apart in a game or 2, and the same kind of happened with SpeCial. But this was a real bloodbath between 2 very close friends as well. And also, they've lived in Korea both at the same time for multiple years, and they're so closely matched, and we got to saw a lot of chaos ensue.
Yeah, as of late, they're so closely matched, but historically, Neeb has been one of the toughest matchups for SpeCial. He was 10-2 in series before this match here against SpeCial, but I guess SpeCial picked the right time to get a sweet revenge here because now he's in the grand finals and he's looked incredible the whole tournament.
Yeah, it's so cool to see for a SpeCial. I mean, everyone believing that he was in form, going through that round of 32 in the GSL and saying, how far is he going to be able to make it? He has a pretty decent group in the round of 16 as well there in GSL Code S. And now coming in here and being able to round things out against Neeb, making himself a spot in the grand final. And that means that he's now confirmed to be taking at least $10,000 away with him, at least 1,400 WCS points as well. And a lot of these fights back and forth were very, very hard fought and close. Even though with these interference matrices going down on this army, Ben, it still wasn't enough to subside the wave of zealots that were crushing through.
That moment we just saw on screen, by the way, was the biggest brain fart by Neeb I've seen. He walked in 3 stalkers and they all got 1 shot in time. Like, it was very, very rough. One thing I really have to take away from this series is how SpeCial utilized Ravens, like, in total. There was turret harass on Automaton, which was really, really devastating. He used interference matrixes really darn well. The anti-armor missile, he showcased how to use that unit and make the Protoss life a misery. And the last game, this was...
There we go!
This was beyond ballsy. This was like MVP last game kind of thing, T-Rex against Squirtle. Like, this is... And he did it so well. When the SCVs arrived, he knew exactly what Neeb was going to do, where he was going to plant his buildings, and abused him for that predictability. And I mean, this is the best place to put your buildings on this map as a Protoss, but Protoss is going to have to be scared, because this was a beautiful counter to it.
Yeah, very impressive stuff. The bunker gets up, and then from that point on, so difficult to unroot what the Terran is positioned with. And that means SpeCial is now guaranteed our first member of the grand final here for WCS Spring. Terrans rejoice around the world. Terrans rejoice here on the desk, just one of you. Of course, SpeCial finds himself a best of 7 to potentially crown himself a WCS champion. So very cool stuff. Obviously, you know, Neeb, very hard fought here. No doubt we're going to be seeing him getting to the very high upper echelons of more WCS events to come.
And this was kind of like the crown of who is the best NA player at the moment, right? It really was. And Neeb, he put up a really darn good fight, but now he's got some real competition, because SpeCial, for a long time, I've really felt Neeb has held that throne, like, regardless for a long time. Maybe Scarlet can dethrone him, maybe SpeCial, but here, now he has to step it up a bit in the future, but he definitely played a good series, but SpeCial, I'm loving the variety in his play.
Final thoughts, Todd, before we disappear?
No, I'm really excited for SpeCial to finally make it in the finals. Like I said, it's been a long time coming at so many of those events where he ended up only top 4. I was here telling him, this is your time. And he was like, yeah, I'm really confident. I think I can do this. And then sadly, it never really happened. So it's so cool here to see him play his absolute best. And he's going to need no less against the Zerg in the grand finals.
Yeah, who's it going to be? Will it be Cyril or will it be Reina? That's the big question that is on our minds right now. But regardless of which it's going to be, SpeCial needs to not back down from the fight. We're going to go to a short break here, ladies and gentlemen. And when we return, it's our next round of 4 match here for WCS Spring.